Okay, good day everyone. Welcome to this lesson. Alright, so we are going to be talking about the Songhai Empire today. This video is going to cover up for both week 7, week 8, and week 9. We'll refresh our memories on some of the things we have discussed and also learn some new things as well. So let's start. Okay, we are going to be talking about the Songhai Empire, but where we have already treated the Ghana Empire and the Mali Empire. Right, so the topic for today is the Songhai Empire. Okay, so the Songhai Empire was the strongest and largest. In essence, it was larger than both Ghana Empire and Mali Empire at both their primes. So this area, as you can see this map, this is the map of Africa. So this area here is the area that covers the Sahara Desert. So this is the area in which we had Ghana Empire, Mali Empire, and then the Songhai Empire. So the Songhai Empire at its prime was larger than both Ghana Empire and Mali Empire. Okay, so it was essentially, we see it was the largest empire that existed in the region of West Africa. Okay, so how did the empire start? The empire started from the town known as Gao. As you can see Gao here. So Gao was the capital of the Songhai Empire. Okay, just like we say that Kumbisale was the capital of Ghana Empire, Niani was the capital of Mali Empire, Gao here was the capital of Songhai Empire. So this is a very important point that we should take note of, right? So, but how did the empire even start from the first place? Now, Gao as a city or town, if you prefer, always existed, and the area was initially inhabited by the Soko people, the Go people, and the Do people. So they were the ones that settled there before the Songhai speaking people now came. Now, the Songhai speaking people, when they came to Gao, they eventually grew in number, and from there they established the Songhai Empire. Just like we say the Soninke people established the Ghana Empire, the Malinke people established the Mali Empire, the Songhai speaking people, or if you prefer the Songhai people, established the Songhai Empire. Okay, so Gao was always a very important trading center under the Trans-Saharan trade. Remember that we said that the Trans-Saharan trade was that trade that went across here. Okay, so this is Northern Africa while this is Southern Africa. As you can see, this is Nigeria, our country. We have Ghana, Benin Republic, Togo, around these areas. So around here we have countries like Algeria, Egypt, Tunisia, and so on. So the trade that took part between, okay, this is Northern Africa, and within this Western Africa, here, this part now, is that trade that we refer to as the Trans-Saharan trade. Remember, we talked about the fact that items such as gold, salt, ivory, dates were traded under the Songhai Empire. So those are some of the things that some of the items of trade under the Trans-Saharan trade. We have gold, we have salt, we have ivory, we have slaves, we have horses. And remember, the trade was facilitated using camels. Okay, so let's continue. So Gao was a very important city under the Trans-Saharan trade, as traders always passed through the area for trading to go to any place to get materials or to sell their wares. Now, when Mansa Musa, we all remember Mansa Musa, who we said was one of the richest emperors of the Mali Empire. When he discovered Gao, he conquered the city and brought it under the control of the Mali Empire. And this happened around the 14th century. But over time, when Mali Empire started to decline, the Gao town was eventually taken over by the Songhai people, and the rebel. The rebel simply meaning that they revolted against the rule of Mali Empire, and they took over the town and established their own empire. From there, they continued to expand the empire. Now, it's important to note the person that did this, who was Sonny Ali. So, this name is a very important name. We should take note of it. So, Sonny Ali established the Songhai Empire by revolting against Mali Empire and expanding the territories of Gao, and eventually ensuring the dominance and the growth of the Songhai Empire. Moving on. So this is the map. Like I've told you earlier, this here is the Songhai Empire. See how big it is. Now this smaller one here, this is how big Ghana Empire is. See, it was very very small. While the greenish lines covers areas that we had the Mali Empire. Now this yellow one is for the Songhai Empire. So you see, in comparison to both Ghana and Mali, Songhai Empire was very very big. So this was the Sahara. Okay, so if you are ever asked, I think I may even ask that in your exams. If I ask you that, mention 3 countries where we have the former Songhai Empire. You should mention Niger Republic, you have Mali, you have Mauritania, you have Senegal, you have Guinea, even Songhai Empire, some part of it is also in Nigeria. So these are the countries, present day countries, where we formerly had the Songhai Empire. So that's about the location. This is West African region around the Sahara Desert. And then another very important point I want us to note, it is a question I often repeat. I said, which river often aided the growth of this empire? See, the River Niger. Look at it indicated here. So you see the River Niger passed through these empires. So they benefited from the route of the River Niger. See it here. Right, so the River Niger also helped, River Niger along with the Trans-Saharan trade also helped these empires to become very, very rich. Moving on. So let's talk about the socio-political structure of the Songhai Empire. The Songhai Empire was a very powerful empire that, as we have talked about. At the helm, at the height of the empire, we had the emperor who was called the Askia. Remember, under the Ghana Empire, the supreme king was called Ghana. Mali Empire was called Mansa. Under the Songhai Empire, the supreme ruler was called the Askia. Now, the empire was also divided into provinces. What this means is that it was divided into smaller parts, and each part was governed by a governor who was called the Koi. Okay, the governor, they were appointed by the Askia, so they helped to govern the entire empire, although they paid allegiance to the Askia. So if you look at this picture here, I just use this picture to try to illustrate what's happened in the Songhai Empire. So beside the Askia, you also have what we call the Council of Elders or Advisors. See this one standing here. So they advise the Askia on issues pertaining to the empire. Moving on, the empire was also divided further into districts. So the empire was divided into provinces. Each province was governed by a koi, and then each province was also divided into districts that were ruled or by lesser officials. The empire had a strong centralized administration. Centralized administration simply means that all powers emanated from the Askia. The Askia was the supreme ruler. No one could challenge his decision making. There was social hierarchy, that was ranking in the empire. At the helm, at the height of it, we had the royalty, those are members of the royal family. And then we also had Islamic scholars that came in next in rank, those that practice Islam. I want you to know that the main reason why Islam was very, very relevant in most of this empire was that the traders under the Trans-Saharan trade were mostly Muslims, and so anybody that's practiced Islam or accepted Islam, they traded with them. So it was to the benefit of the Mali Empire to adopt the Ghana Empire, the Songhai Empire to adopt Islam as a religion so as to facilitate trade with the Arabian traders and the Berber traders. So after the Islamic scholars, we had the merchants, the traders, and then we had the farmers and herders, and then the last were the slaves and those captured during war. Moving on. So, what are some of the factors that led to the rise of the Songhai Empire? Number one is the fact that they had a very strong leader, starting from the reign of Sonny Ali to other emperors that ruled the empire. They were a very strong leader, enforcing their rule um, and ensuring that everyone obeys them. And then the fact that the empire was also strategically located along the Trans-Saharan trade and the river Niger as well meant that the empire became very, very rich by participating in the trade. And then, of course, we have talked about Islam already. Islam also has contributed, Islamic scholarship so contributed to the growth of the empire. And then, because the empire also had a very strong army, military strength here, ensured that it could attack and take over any other smaller empires around it. They also had a navy that was um, carried out the activities around the river Niger, on the river Niger. And then the Askia you see here, just like in Ghana would have had Mansa Muhammad I. Here we have Askia Muhammad I. So this simply means King Muhammad I introduced a decentralized administrative system. What this means is that the provinces were given relative authority to govern their areas, and then although they must ensure that they report whatsoever happens in their provinces to the Askia. So let's look at the factors that led to the fall of the Songhai Empire. Just like Ghana, Mali, Songhai Empire eventually collapsed. And the first was that the issue of succession, of course, who becomes the next king. When princes and those that had the right to the throne, when they started to fight each other, um, it meant that you wouldn't have a supreme ruler that will unify everybody and unite the empire. So this also affected Songhai Empire the same way it affected Ghana and Mali. And then of course you also have external pressures. What this means is that pressures from other empires around it, as at then we had empires like the Oyo Empire in present day Nigeria. So when these other empires attacked it and they contributed to the decline of the empire. And then, of course, one major problem that Songhai Empire had was that because it wanted to be very, very big, to extend its territorial borders, now this put a strain on its resources, that is the money they had and the military might they had. So the military were overstretched. So it means that because they were overstretched, they couldn't actually do what they were supposed to do or to defend the empire properly, and eventually they were defeated in different battles and the empire eventually declined. So and then another factor that contributed to its fall was the fact that trans-Saharan trade eventually began to decline. People started doing other things to survive beyond just trading. The climatic conditions, weather conditions around the Sahara became increasingly much more unfavorable and unfriendly. So because of that, the trans-Saharan trade began to decline, and because it began to decline, the empire also continued to decline. The last factor was the fact that the Songhai Empire was eventually attacked by Moroccan Empire in 1591. So the attack also marked the end of the Songhai Empire. So that's that for this lesson. I want you to go over it again to get clarifications, and if you have any questions, I'm always available for your questions. And I'm also going to attach some questions to the Google Classroom arising from this video, so that if there's anything that you need, rather to ensure that the video was followed, was listened to, and I'll use the questions that I'll ask questions based on what we discuss in this video, and then I expect answers to ensure that you followed and paid attention. Okay, so that'll be all for now. See you later.